Welcome back to Inside DeKalb. Here's a fact. Did you know that vehicles are the most recycled consumer goods in America? That's the good news. Here's the bad news. There are millions of retired cars that need to be handled properly. DCTV's AvivA Hoffmann reports on a new program that helps keep potentially hazardous materials out of our environment.
A nationally recognized environmental program celebrates a major milestone at the pull-apart in DeKalb County.
This really is a landmark achievement, and it's worth celebrating.
The EPA's top leader in Washington came to this local automobile recycler and used parts retailer to remove the 1 millionth Mercury switch from a retired car.
All right, here we go.
Look at this Mercury switch and you say, well, that's not a lot of mercury. Multiply this times 40 million switches that are in older cars. That's a lot of mercury.
A lot of mercury that could potentially end up in our soil, our water, and even in our air. That's where the National Vehicle Mercury Switch Removal Program comes into play. It began in August 2006. This program is helping remove mercury-containing switches from scrap vehicles like this one before they are flattened, shredded, and melted to make new steel. And that helps ensure toxic mercury doesn't have a chance to harm our environment.
DeKalb has a very strong environmental sensitivity, whether it is reclaiming landfill gas or reclaiming mercury from these types of automotive switches. Our Clean and Beautiful program, people in DeKalb are really interested in environmental programs.
Pull Apart is one of 6,000 participants in the National Mercury Recovery Program, which, as you saw, has now safely collected 1 million mercury automobile switches from end-of-life vehicles across the nation.
There are 13.5 million cars that reach the end of their life every year. And those cars have to go somewhere and be handled properly. Unfortunately, many of them end up in people's yards or abandoned on our streets.
But with the growing popularity of places like Pull Apart and national programs, mercury switches and anything else that could be toxic, like fluids and batteries, can be disposed of properly, or in most cases, be recycled.
We were one of the first in the industry to join the program, and we have already recovered 30,000 of these mercury switches.
So, why is there mercury in old cars in the first place? Well, mercury-containing switches were used in domestic vehicles built before 2003.
The switches were for lights in the car, and what the mercury switch was used for was to turn the lights on and off. And when you have mercury inside the switch, it allows for a very smooth on-off operation. But with advances in technology, switch manufacturers can now use electronics instead of the mercury.
But those old switches are still around, and even though small, they are no small environmental matter.
There's enough mercury in this one switch to contaminate 132,000 gallons of water above EPA drinking water standards.
That's why the Mercury Switch Removal Program is such a great idea.
It's one that addresses an environmental concern in an economically sustainable way. So it's good for business, it's good for the environment.
The goal of the program is to collect 80 to 90% of all that available mercury from these scrap cars by the year 2017. And by the looks of it, it's well on its way. Reporting from the Pull Apart in Conley, AvivA Hoffmann, Inside DeKalb.
Thanks, AvivA. Officials say the program will help reduce up to 75 tons of mercury emissions over the next 15 years. For a link to more information on the program, go to EPA's website at epa.gov. That's going to do it for this edition of Inside DeKalb. For all the staff at DCTV, I'm Colin Spencer. Thanks for joining us.